my name's Collie Ennis and I'm the Biodiversity Officer for Trinity College, Dublin.
Deadly. Yeah.
Explain to us what's biodiversity. What does that mean?
Okay, so my career, I've basically been involved with nature since I was a kid. A passion of mine, just not in the garden, eating worms, catching tadpoles, all that kind of stuff. And it's a big part of my life. I love it. And then I went through life like most lads from where I'm from is Crumlin. So I got a trade. I was a Sparks for 6 or 7 years. And then the crash happened. Everybody emigrated. I ended up working in Trinity College as a security guard. I was teaching martial arts in the college, and I saw a 6 month 6 month contract going up for security. I said that will get me over the hump, and I'll go back to the building sites. And I ended up staying in the college for 25 years. And in the time I was in there, then I got, because I was working outside voluntarily in conservation work, like building ponds. I'm obsessed with frogs and lizards and all that sort of stuff. So I was doing a lot of community conservation work, helping out with councils, all that kind of stuff. I got chatting to the zoology department in Trinity. We all clicked because the passion for nature, animals, passion for animals and all that. And then I started working with them, doing research, bit of lecturing, field work, going to Africa, all stuff like that. So
probably turned your passion into a job like that.
Yeah, and then the opportunity came to take it on full time as the biodiversity officer, and that means biodiversity officer is kind of like to encourage nature back onto the campus, make it more wildlife friendly, turn our lawns, our flat lawns, into living ecosystems again.
That's unreal.
And that's what we're really trying to do, and make an example of like even how a fairly well-established place like Trinity College can still, even in the middle of the city, can support all sorts of different types of life, be a home for nature, be a little oasis in a concrete jungle. And that's where I'm at.
That's really interesting.
Very interesting.
There's loads to ask, obviously, but like, can you give us a couple of examples of what you've changed since you've been there, or even maybe what has changed?
I think if people heard that as well, they probably think, what do you mean nature? Throw a hedgehog here or there, but it's obviously so complicated, isn't it?
Backing up a truck full of hedgehogs. Amazing.
Don't where it involves
I've been nicking them. The great example, I suppose, the kind of our iconic example would be if you're getting the Lewis or a bus past Trinity. Yeah. You know where the Lewis runs around there. If you look at the front lawn, it's wild. Yeah. It's long grass. Now we've cut around the edges to let people know that there's a reason for it. We're not just being lazy, but we put in wildflowers there, and we put in all kind of like just letting nature take its course. Yeah. And I can go in there in the height of summer, and I can't wait for like May and June, July. Go in there with a little magnifying glass and be looking at beetles, butterflies, solitary bees that I would find near me home in Wicklow in the city centre. Yeah. And it's great. Like I got a video last year of like just focusing on all this life, and then I just panned it up and looked up, and the Lewis is going by.
That's
and it's just a great example of, if you give nature a bit of space, it can do really well. And that's kind of like one of the kind of iconic things we've done. It causes a lot of trouble every year. Letters to the Irish Times, people giving out the laws of Trinity are a disgrace.
Really?
You know?
People actually write in and all?
People are crazy. Crazy. They like neat and tidy, but it's a cultural shift is what we need. Yeah. To think about the fact that your garden, if you have grass, which most people don't do, but it's not great for wildlife. It's even less if it's plastic grass, and it's even less if it's paved over. And I know it's handy to have, people keep dogs or they're just busy with life. It's handy to have a very low maintenance garden like that. But in my eye, and like what I try to teach people, and teaching by example, not by lecturing, because I completely understand where people are coming from, but you are kind of taking a bit of joy out of your life. Yeah. If you have a garden that's not just an extra room into the house, to me it should be a portal into another dimension. It should be a place where you go outside and you're with birds, butterflies, bees. You don't need to go down to the park. You can
couple of kids if you've shrunk them.
Yeah, maybe. Exactly. Yeah.
When you shrunk the kids. Do you see that film now?
A giant pet ant to ride around on. But that kind of that kind of wonder. We're losing it and we're missing out on it.
Yeah.
And just by Trinity going down this road and leading by example and giving people tips, and I do a lot of media work and I talk to people how it's simple and you don't have to have a mad wild garden. You can even give a corner of it to nature, and it brings people a lot of joy. And you know, I think it's important.
Yeah, 100%. We actually only having this conversation there, and I gave out a while ago, right? Do you ever see houses now? And they all look the same.
Yeah.
Like houses back in the day, I shared this thing on TikTok and he slags me over it. It was like the 90s and early 2000s to now.
Yeah.
And it's houses and buildings and all. They used to have colour, like flowers in the garden.
Yeah.
They used to have loads of stuff like that. And now everything's like red brick and it just looks horrible.
Yeah. All driveways, all paved, all flat. Just
100%.
Nothing there, you know. But it's happening in more than just houses. Like I look at the young fellas nowadays walking around, and you know, I would be driving around. Oh, there's my kid. No, that's not him. There's my kid, because they all have a uniform.
Exactly.
It's the North Face back jacket and the hood up.
100%.
It's like mad. So I think that individualism is getting sucked out of us.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's kind of scary. But yeah, from my work point of view, to try and encourage people to get back to nature, to take some time to smell the roses, to put the phone down, or to use the phone as an implement, as a tool to learn more about nature. And we can talk about how you can do that later on.
Do it more on a national scale as well. You know, like in America, I don't know if you know about this sport.
America,
like,
I know it. Yeah,
no, in Yellowstone Park where they reintroduced the wolves.
Yeah,
it's that I don't know whether this could be like TikTok messing me up here, but people want to do that in Ireland.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would that be something that you'd be involved in, or?
I'm yet to release any wolves in Trinity. I'll be in trouble. But I did an April Fool's yesterday about releasing snakes into the college to deal with the rats, and everybody was freaking out. It was hilarious. But the movement of reintroducing big predators is a really, it makes ecological sense. So we have a problem in Ireland, say, with deer at the moment. There's so many deer in the country that we've a very small amount of land that has forest on it. Now, everybody, when you think of forest in Ireland, will think of, like, say, up at the Hellfire Club, you know, the straight rows planted, but they're not a forest. That's a crop that's grown to be chopped down and taken away and replanted and chopped down and taken away. That's not a natural forest. The natural forest we do have will be like oaks, all those kind of old native trees. And the problem that we have now in Ireland is there's so many deer because there's so little, there's no predators for deer. The deer come in through the forest, and all the young trees that are coming up to replace the old dying trees are getting stripped bare and killed. Okay. So we're, even though we've tiny amounts of forest left, they're not reproducing. We're not getting recruitment of new trees in, and then you just kind of lose it all.
Right.
So the idea behind what Yellowstone did was, because they were having problems with similar issues, and they reintroduced wolves, and the wolves took care of the deers pretty quickly, and just brought them into control.
Right.
There's wolves in most of Europe. There's wolves in Holland. There's wolves in Spain. They're all over the continent of Europe, and they get on okay with people. It's not the end of the world. What I think will be more of a kind of a handier creature to introduce to this country that will take care of some deer will be a lynx, which is like a small cat, you know.
Okay.
But it's big enough to take out a deer.
Yeah.
Is that like
the ones with the big long tufts on their ear, yeah.
And so they'd see the way they get rid of deers then, as in they kill deer. Is that what I'm saying? Yeah. How do you stop it from killing all the deer?
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
you'd have a certain amount of predators that would just keep them in check.
Okay.
You never get to the point where there'd be just, you know, it's not like the old woman who swallowed the fly and it keeps going, and then we have to get into something else to eat the lynx. They'll balance each other out.
Okay.
And that's the idea behind that kind of
But could you do that? That's not native to Ireland, and I know like the people who, well, you obviously.
There's a debate whether it's native or not, because there was a jawbone found. I think it was a jawbone found. But there was a bone of a lynx found in a cave somewhere in Ireland.
That's where I left it.
It's always the last place you look. It could have been brought in as a pet for someone, because there was a lot of trade between us and Europe back in the day.
Yeah.
But regardless, we got rid of our wolves. We need something in there to kind of fill out the the gap in the ecosystem there.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
you do need predators to keep things in check. They
Animal
keep-
predators, just want to make that.
Yeah.
Right, Collie, we're not sending out the wrong message here.
No. But yeah, you really do, and it does make such a difference. And Yellowstone's a great example of that.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder if it would ever happen in Ireland. Well, you'd be closer to it. Do you think
Would it have to be?
would anyone people would allow it? Like,
Just for anyone wondering there, does it have to be native? Is there a rule there? If it's not native, it can't come.
It's better if it's native.
Okay.
We don't have like there's been a big reintroduction of beavers in England.
Okay. Yeah.
And they're great for making wetlands.
Oh.
So they literally will block off a small stream or a river and turn a whole place into a wetland, which is great for birds, frogs, newts, fucking everything that I'm into, which is fantastic. We don't have any record of them here, but to put them here might make sense to like they'll basically do the work that a lot of our county councils are trying to do now.
Yeah.
They do them for them, you know?
yeah.
You're
So
better
that'd
off
be-
staying with native stuff, but you can do trial runs and test stuff. You know, invasive species are really dodgy, so
right.
you have to be very, very careful and think about it very long and hard about what you're going to bring in. But like I said, if it would be ideally, it'd be great if you could reintroduce wolves and everybody would kill, and maybe the wolves would take the odd sheep or lamb, and the government will say to the farmer, right, sorry about that. There's your compensation and a couple of quid extra, but we have wolves in this area. The problem with Ireland is we haven't really got. You could reintroduce wolves, say, to Scotland because it's so wild up there.
Yeah.
We haven't. Our national park, that's our biggest national park, would be in, and our most famous would be in Killarney, and you couldn't put a wolf down there.
Oh no.
Because
Not big enough, like.
John and Susie from Wisconsin would get
Yeah.
an awful fright walking around. It's not wild enough.
Okay.
And that's the whole thing. We just need to box off areas that are basically just used. To so much of our land is just sheep farming, and you need to compensate farmers. Farmers are the custodians of our countryside. You need to get them on board and respect them for the work that they do, and then work with them to say, look, we're going to possibly introduce this animal here, and get the ball rolling that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, 100% it
I
does.
find
Yeah.
that stuff fascinating.
It's very fascinating.
It is very interesting.
Would the farmers now, if that came to them, would they all join together and say, no, that's not happening for that reason, as you said?
Oh, you'd be surprised. Like, I mean, obviously, if you're going to say we're going to release a pack of wolves,
Yeah.
that'd be too much. But to release lynx and to explain that lynx very rarely attack livestock, they're super shy of people. That would be kind of a nice intermediary kind of compromise.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
could sort everybody out.
Yeah.
And they'd hang around quite happily in the forest we have without causing much hassle at all. You wouldn't even know they were there.
That's
you
deadly.
know?
See,
but
like,
yeah.
just because we're dumb on this stuff, like, how many lynx would you put in that Killarney one, say? How many in that population would there be?
I'd be dumb on that too.
Would you be? Alright,
so
right.
my speciality is herpetology, which is amphibians and reptiles, and then invertebrates, which is all insects and stuff. I know everything I know from mammals and predators like wolves and stuff. I know from my colleagues that I work with, both in conservation and in the college. So when you're talking about numbers of animals to bring in, I wouldn't have a notion. But I would imagine it would be a small number at first, just to get a population going and see. You'd have to trial run it, just to see how it's going, and that's usually what happens. That's been kind of the standard of reintroduction. Small numbers, see how they get on, see if they interact with nature the way we want them to, and see if they don't cause too much hassle outside of what we want them to do, i.e. taking sheep.
Perfect. Yeah.
But the important thing is to get everybody on board and respect everybody, and you know it's a long, slow process. But
I could imagine.
fingers crossed. I would love to see that in my lifetime. I'd love to see some kind of movement towards that. It makes monetary sense, because you know the services that our woodlands provide to us, they actually provide services. They make our water clean. They keep our air clean. This green land we have, these natural spots that we have are super necessary, and just to have them back in balance will be a big win for us as a country, and be awesome as well to be able to say we have them in the in the country again. Not to and to dispel any fears about them.
100%. Yeah. Is there any stories or if, like from colleagues around of someone bringing in these animals and it went wrong? It was like shit. That was a good idea, but the execution wasn't.
I know. No, I've never heard of any kind of introductions of like.
What about yourself, even on Trinity? Like, is there anything that you've introduced that hasn't?
Oh God!
Gone?
Thank God, no, I haven't.
Okay.
Not yet. Look, you're kind of talking now about invasive species.
Oh yeah,
into that.
Yes.
So for example, you could. There's plenty of. I have an example of an invasive species that I'll show you later on.
Uh-huh.
But like, you could bring in something like. There's a lot of pet raccoons in Ireland, for example. A lot of people have pet raccoons.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a few of them around. And then, of course, you keep a mommy and a daddy raccoon together and they have babies.
Yeah.
And then maybe you're going, I can't feed these. And the kindest thing to do would be to let them go in the woods. Disaster. Because our ecosystem isn't set up for them.
Yeah.
And then the raccoons run riot. And, it could be a disaster. The great example from Ireland is that if you go down to the Phoenix Park, Stephen's Green, go into Trinity College and have a bag of nuts and sit there long enough and a grey
squirrel
will come up to you. Yeah, a grey squirrel will come up to you. They're from North America.
Oh, Eddie?
Yeah.
I knew with your accent.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know where the Book of Kelly's is? They were brought over as a kind of a pet introduction.
Right.
Like the landed gentry, the posh houses back in the day, loved to bring in.
And they eat the nuts before the red ones can eat them or something.
They compete with them for food, yeah, and they also.
That's why they're so bad, because they can eat them before they're ripen or something like that.
Yeah, they'll compete. They muscle them off their food, but they also carry squirrel pox, which our native squirrels have never had to deal with before. Oh. So as soon as they arrive in, not only do they push them off their food, they also spread this disease. So then you get red squirrels only in very isolated areas. Now, it's been a big turn of the tide in Ireland with the red squirrels. They're coming back because of another native species in Ireland called the pine marten, which looks like a big, huge stoat.
Yeah, it's like a stoat.
Or otter.
An otter, but and what's the other thing that people keep as pets?
Ferret. Yeah, it's a muscellid. They're all in the same family.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
he does research here, Collie.
Research on no animals and shit.
There you go. Yeah, you'd be surprised. It's amazing. It's great to see that you know so much as well.
I know loads, Collie, as well.
When I was in my anti-scar, I used to
be a gold star.
We talked about eating worms. I never ate worms now, but I used to play with the worms in my auntie's backyard. I talked about that on this before.
Did you?
Yeah. Used to pick up rocks, take them out, play with them for the day, then put them back.
Deadly. Fair play.
Traumatized. The worms were like, oh!
I think there's a different stuff people are into, because worms, even as a kid, I was always a bit petrified by worms.
Yeah.
You know, but
it's not for everybody. It's a mad interest. Speaking of worms, though, I was digging a pond in a school in Drimna recently. Part of Trinity, we do Trinity Access Programme.
Yeah.
So we'll go to schools that mightn't have the few quid to do the nature stuff, and we'd go in and help them out.
Yeah.
Bit of advice and talk to the students and just show them, get them out get their hands dirty. And while we were digging the pond, one of the young fellas was like, "What the hell is that?" He didn't say hell. And I was like, "It's a worm. It's a lobworm." And I started to explain to him about, and they had never seen a worm.
Never seen a worm?
These were like 5th or 6th class.
Oh my God.
And I was looking at the teacher saying, are they winding me up here? You know what I mean? But they literally, and she was explaining, like, back gardens are they're either in apartments or their back gardens are covered in slabs.
Yeah, true.
That's so sad.
Yeah, it's for me, it was really, really sad. Really kind of effect. But it also gave me, it's like, this kind of work is important.
Yeah.
You know, and you want to see them, they had more photographs with the worm than with the pond. At the end of it, they were like, "This is brilliant, will it bite me?" You know, and it's mad. Yeah, it's not real.
Cut it in half, you'll make two of them.
Exactly. I had to explain to them about that, all the stuff. But it was a whole thing that came out of doing something completely different.
Yeah.
And it's just the access to nature, and I'm not just talking about kids. Adults are the same. I know I'm guilty of it myself. Just sitting down and starting to scroll, and then half the day is gone, and you've not touch grass. You know, you haven't gone out and done some kind of cleanse of getting out and listening to the birds or whatever. And that example with the kids was, it was a bit shocking. But it's like I said, it shows the importance of the work that we're doing. But anyway, back to the grey squirrels. I want to finish that. The pine martens, the ferret-looking things. Yeah. They were nearly hunted to extinction in this country, and then they became protected in the 70s or 80s. And they were only over really near Mayo. And because they got protected, they started doing well again and started pushing back. And then once they got off the Shannon, they flooded over. And the pine martens absolutely annihilate grey squirrels. Oh, because the native squirrels know kind of how to deal with them. Right. They make it hard work for them, where the grey squirrels can't handle them at all because they're not used to them. They've never had to introduce. So now the pine martens have pushed the grey squirrels right up back into Dublin. There's very few areas now, and when the pine martens, which I can see them moving into the Phoenix Park very soon.
Then that'll probably become a problem. There'll be too many of them, will there?
No, because they're native and they'll just balance out, and they're supposed to be here.
Okay.
But they're going to get rid of the grey squirrels eventually, and that's a huge success story because it was a tragedy that the red squirrels were nearly gone, the grey squirrels were taken over, the pine martens were nearly gone. Pine martens come back, rescue their frenemies, the grey squirrels or the red squirrels, and my mate Colin Lawton up in NUI Galway wrote a paper on it, and he called it Game of Cones, which I thought was brilliant because all these families, really, really interesting. And it goes to show though how protecting native species can actually help deal with, invasive species like the grey squirrel. You
mentioned school in Drimna there. Yeah. Drimna Castle.
I've done one in Drimna Castle. I've done one in Morn Road in Drimna as well. So
we done a talk with Drimna Castle last week. That's where we were speaking to Mr. Lawler.
Okay, brilliant. He's a lovely guy.
That's what we were going to say.
Yeah, he said straight away, you need to get this guy on your podcast.
All right, brilliant. Shout out Mr. Lawler.
Shout out Mr. Lawler. You went to Drimna Castle, were you?
I'm an alumni, I used to go there,
Same here,
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. That's mad.
And I was in Morn Road Primary, actually, funny enough, and then Drimna Castle Secondary.
That's gas. There you go. So that's just too. So part of the access program is we're going out to schools like there and
what did you put a pond there? Put a pond in,
put up some bug boxes, plant a couple of native trees, a corner for wildlife, a little patch. My passion for nature was born in my back garden, but also in Drimna Castle because there was a big moat around the castle. I'm sure you know.
Unbelievable.
Used to be full of frogs.
Was it?
Yeah, it used to be crawling with them. Like you'd be out in the yard at lunchtime and they'd be everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was, for me, it was like, this is amazing. And then I was watching David Attenborough as a kid and all that kind of stuff and just absorbing books and information about it, So
I actually lived close to Drimna Castle and there was a frog in my garden once.
There you go. That's great.
I'm coming home from...
He kissed it.
Turned into him. No, it was in my garden and I couldn't imagine it was a frog because you'd see you might see like a mouse or something like that. You never see a frog just in the middle of the road.
And even at the moat, we seen frogs, but they weren't see where you were saying there was loads. When we were in it 10 years ago, there wasn't loads. We seen frogs, but they weren't mental. Do you know what I mean?
And I captured the frog anyway, put it in an owl fish tank out the back.
Brilliant.
And the next morning it was gone.
Well, that's grand. You gave him a little...
Yeah, no, he was either taken by a bird or my dad put him away and didn't want me to have him. But
it's lovely when you're in an urban setting and you come across something like a hedgehog. Yeah, because we're so, like I said, it's so separated from nature that when you get, it is kind of magical to see them, and there's no reason that all those animals can't do better in urban settings than they do in the countryside. Because when you look at the countryside, it, like I said, it's mainly focused on growing stuff or feeding stuff.
Yeah.
So you have sheep and cows and the odd bit of vegetables. And we're growing less and less vegetables every year in this country.
Are we,
Oh, we're getting them imported. It's crazy. The whole system's crazy. But people's back gardens can be a refuge for all these creatures. Can be a real place where you can, make the effort. And like I said, the satisfaction you get out seeing them and interacting with them and, birds showing up that you'd never seen before. It's really cool.
Like a Saturday night.
Yeah. we need to kind of embrace that and get back to it. And I think if people get into it. Give it a chance. They'll be really surprised.
You see what they've done in London? I seen BBC reported it. They've created like hedgehog highways.
Yeah.
So they've encouraged people to put a hole at the bottom of your fence so the hedgehogs can just go through it.
Oh, that's class.
So you can go in between gardens without going all the way around.
And it works for the frogs. It works for the small mammals as well to get around. So it's really good. I think we had an idea years ago for helping frogs with the same kind of thing, but we called it knock a block. So you knock the block out.
Fair,
you know, at ground level, just one block out your wall.
Whereas these have proper little like
hedgehog highways, knock a block. But some difference. But the theory's the same. And it's like, you know, even if you get a couple of neighbours involved in it as well. Like I lived in Tala. I'm only 4 years out in Wicklow, but I lived in Crumlin, grew up in Crumlin, and then moved to Tala to another council gaff up there. And I was there for 16 years, and I had a postage stamp. The garden wasn't much bigger than this studio, and turned it into a haven for wildlife. We had all sorts of stuff showing up. It was fantastic.
That's unreal.
And like I said, sitting out now, the winters aren't great, but the winters aren't great in a plastic garden either. You're not going to be out there, but during the summer when you're out there and you're just the smell of it, the smell of life. It's really amazing, and just to sit there and chill out and have a cup of tea or whatever or beer,
it's class.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I could imagine sitting in the bit of sun now, have a bottle in your hand, just looking at all that. Like that sounds crazy. So bliss,
it's
man.
really, really good. You know.
I had a friend growing up that had a pond in his back garden.
Yeah.
And the same thing, it was a small garden, and the pond took up loads of it. Like, but that was really into fishes. Yeah. And when we were there, I was just like, because I love water animals. That's be my cup of tea. Like. Yeah. And I just thought when I grow up, I want to what.
Water animals is your thing.
Like more than
never said this before.
More than like I'd be into you know I love water and fish.
Like what, fish?
Fish, no, I love looking out the
water.
water.
Never had fish around.
I don't have a pond.
Well, when have you ever said that you like fish?
I've had goldfishes now, but not these
He's
proper.
Never said this before.
The koi, is it the big koi fish that you had?
No, but I've seen them. They're class. I can't remember what you had.
You got any of them?
I'm building. I had a koi pond for the 16 years I was in Tala, and then when we moved, I left the fish there. And the new people are looking after them now and looking after the garden too. Fair play to them. But I'm building one at the moment because my missus misses the koi pond, and she's just like, "Where's my koi pond? There's enough frogs in this garden. Where's my koi pond?" But,
they are expensive. What were you saying about your friends?
I just love ponds. I always thought when I grew up I want to have a big pond in my garden. Like
and the thing I try and push on people. Pond propaganda, I call it, but like everybody assumes it has to be massive, or like a koi pond, which are hugely expensive. But like it can be. Do you know the drawers you slide under your bed for your shoes and runners, the plastic drawers?
Yeah.
You can get one of them, put it on the ground, put some moss and rocks around it, and some moss and rocks inside it, and some aquatic plants, and you have a pond.
Yeah.
Like things will show up, and I'm talking about like days later.
Really?
You'll have insects and laying their eggs and everything. 100%.
See, if you're to do that, what fish could you get straight away and put in?
The idea with me for wildlife ponds is if you can avoid fish, do.
Okay.
Because fish are great and are lovely. But again, goldfish, koi, all that sort of stuff, they're not native. And we have our native fish like roach, perch, rudd, pike, all them. They have loads of homes. They have the canals, they have the lakes, they have everything.
Yeah.
The animals that don't have homes are the ones that need these small water bodies that are fish free.
Right.
So if you do that, if you put in a small pond, you keep the goldfish out and all that, you will have so much life in it compared to if you had a goldfish pond. You'll have 5 goldfish in your small pond in your garden, or you leave it fish free and you'll have dragonflies, damselflies. You'll have all sorts of different aquatic daphnia, which are like water fleas that show up. You'll have water woodlouse, water beetles, all these creatures looking for a place to land in, and they do. And then when you shine a torch in at night, it's like Battle Dome. It's all this crazy life going on.
You've made that from nothing, like.
Yeah, and you've done that by just taking a little bit of time, and you can fit it to your budget.
Yeah.
And there's so much advice online. I have a couple of videos up on YouTube, banging pond, whatever. Wildlife pond creation.
Sounds like a rated R video. That does.
Banging pond.
Girl and boy in pond. That actually,
I'll say that for my OnlyFans.
That fish tank I had the frog in, there was water in that at one stage, and there was little eggs in it.
Yeah.
And I thought I was growing mosquitoes.
You were?
Yeah, but I didn't.
Really?
I didn't know there was meant to be mosquitoes in Ireland, so I kind of poured the water out.
I think with 20. I'm not sure, but 12 to 20 odd species. I can't remember exactly, but we have a fair amount of species of mosquitoes and midges. We don't have mad biting ones. If you go up the hills now, the midges will eat you alive. Yeah,
mosquito.
But they're like native. They're supposed to be here and all that. The mosquitoes that show up around like houses and stuff when you put in ponds, they don't bite you. And what they are is a drive-through for bats. So really, when they hatch out, and they always hatch out in the evening time, and they start rising, and you go out and there's a thing called a bat detector. So you turn it on, and it's like something out of Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. It goes, here's the echolocation of the bats. And I used to have, like, in the old house in Tala, in my front garden, which I had a strip beside the driveway of soil. I put in 4 little ponds, that deep, that wide, like tiny little shoebox ponds, full of all sorts of life. And every evening, you'd see the bats coming up along the road of houses and then start feeding.
Is in Tala?
Like, in Tala.
That's mad. I did not think you'd ever see a bat up there. Like.
Yeah, animals are out there looking for somewhere to feed, to breed, just a home. And if you can provide them with that, that's what I'm saying. And my neighbours would be all like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it!" And the kids would come down and see them. They do their little routine, feed, and then shoot off to their next spot.
Oh, so don't stick around.
Well, there's only so much they can eat in a small area, and then they'll go off and go on to the next spot. Yeah, you know, it's very easy to do. It doesn't take much time, and anyone who I've who's followed me through social media. Any talks I've given and they've gone and done it, all I get back is positive. I've never had one negative comment back going. The only thing they might be disappointed is that the frogs didn't show up. Right. But they still love the animals that do show up. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's just like they're greedy for more. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I want more of this. You know. So it's like it's such a positive thing. That's the overwhelming feeling I get back in response, which is great.
That's unreal. See, just because there probably is people out there that probably do want to do stuff like that. See, if you do that in the corner of your house, could any of them animals end up in the house if that was people's fears?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, they can't. Like, I used to open on a rainy day up in the, because it was a small garden, you'd have the sliding doors, and you get a frog in the kitchen, but you just hoosh him out. It's only a frog. Yeah. Like, he's not going to rob the flat screen or anything, you know what I mean? It's grand.
What about the flies and stuff? Would they come in, or the other, like, the insect type?
No. I mean, it's like, no more than they do anyway. They're around anyway. Yeah. Another thing that people will be freaking out, it's like, oh, will a pond attract rats? Your house is built on a sewer that's full of rats. Yeah. Rats are everywhere. They're just part of living beside people. You know, it's just like, if you're going to live in a big population of people, you're going to have rats. Yeah. So it's nothing to do with the pond. It's just, they're just there and around anyway, you know?
I would imagine having like bins in the road would be more for rats
everything
than
like that. You know, when you're making your pasta of the evening and, you know, the little bits of it fall into the sink and you mash them down and turn the sink on, all that pasta goes into the drains and the little boys are down there having a feast, you know. So we're already providing habitats for them.
I think a lot of people are afraid of spiders. It's just something that you can get. And I have a big old spider in my car. You're going to be impressive with this segue. I thought it was a false widow spider that was in the car.
This right now you have it?
No, remember I had the spider in the car.
Yeah, huge thing this was like.
Yeah. And was on a web.
No.
It was on the dole, I think. You seen this thing? It looked like a waste.
Huge.
Yeah. It was huge. Brown, dark brown.
I think it was just a regular house spider.
It was huge. They're the European house spiders. They're really big leggy things.
Yeah, huge, like.
Yeah, they're massive.
How do one of them, like, how do they live like that big? They need a bit of feeding, do they?
Yeah, so they're doing they're doing all the pest control work for you for free. In your gaff. Move house and take your fridge off the wall. And you're just going to see a carpet of webs.
Oh, really?
If you go into your attic, you're going to see webs everywhere. Yeah. Unless you're in there hoovering, like you're super. But anywhere where it's kind of shaded, undisturbed, there's going to be spiders in there. And also at the bottom of the webs, like we were doing surveys to see what they were eating, you know?
The survey says.
And it's just blue bottles, wood lice, silverfish, stuff that people don't want in their house. The spiders in there eating all that for free, keeping it out your... You know, keeping it off your nice furniture, which is I think it's a good deal. You keep them at home, and then once a year you see the males wandering around looking for females. It's in October. You're watching the telly, and you'll hear, like, you can actually sometimes hear them. The footsteps coming across the ground, and people freak out. But that's all they're doing. They're not out to bite people or anything like that. It's just they're just on a wander looking for love.
I've heard a rumour that, you know, Daddy Longlegs, you could probably tell us the real name for it.
The cellar spiders. Apparently,
you again, correct me if I'm wrong, they have enough venom to kill a man, but their teeth aren't big enough. Is that true?
So this is one of those pre-internet rumours that kind of got around all over the world. It's incredible. There's cellar spiders in Australia too. They're very gangly ones. You'll find them in your bathroom. You'll find them under the sink in your house.
Yeah.
If you go near their web, they'll do this mad gyration to put you off. Like if you were bored, it'd be harder to pick them off the web.
Okay.
And they're very dainty and long, and they look like they can't really bite you, and they can't because they have very small fangs. Now, the reason why this rumour about them came about was because in Australia, somebody photographed a redback spider getting eaten by one of them and put it in the local paper. And it started to go, it got into the national paper and then spread around. Right. And through that chain of Chinese whispers reporting, it went from just a nice observation of something unusual to these spiders are more deadly than the redback spiders and can probably kill you.
Oh, okay.
So it was like a Chinese whisper that kind of gathered pace, and it's no such thing. What they do is they are spider eating specialists. So those daddy long leg spiders, those cellar spiders, they do kind of spider jiu-jitsu where they keep the more dangerous species at length. They'll eat the big house spiders and everything, and they'll catch them in the web and they'll just throw webbing over them, wrap them up, and then just eat them out.
Better keep them around.
So if you want to keep the likes of, you know, they tend to keep numbers under control. So it's good.
It just made me think now, and we're just gonna go random insect facts. Do earwigs? So what's the real name for an earwig?
That's an earwig. Yeah,
it is called an earwig. I thought there was like a more scientific name for that.
There is a scientific name. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but
so did they go into people's ears now?
No. I believe the name came from the old English or German word for them, which was it just sounded like that, and it just developed into it. But they don't.
And nothing never gone in there.
No. I'm sure everything's got into somebody's ears at one stage or another, but it's not something they live to do. It's not like they're born, they're going, I can't wait to get Connor's ears there, you know what I mean?
Do you think if there's any other weird fact?
Now that you said, Ashley, do you swallow 2 to 3 spiders a year?
Oh, that's a good one.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Is it not?
I mean, like, you'd want to have a house crawling with spiders. My house is crawling with spiders. You hear all these, and then how do they study that? You know?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I try to think back in it. I've certainly never seen any proper scientific papers about it, but like, would you be sitting there watching somebody for a year with their mouth open? I'd be doubtful about that as well.
Now that you say it like that, so would I like
I can't think of any more.
That's a good one about the earwig. Have you got, this is a bit of a crazy one. He's reaching.
Well, this is what I was trying to guess. So we have a false widow. Is this false widow?
Yeah, there you go.
In the studio. That's what it brought
false widow there.
Now, Collie, you see that?
Just looks like a normal spider. So let me just describe it for anyone who's just listening.
So it's got a.
You can describe actually. Yeah, you're probably better.
Now that
more qualified.
That's a kind of a teenager. We call a sub-adult. So it's not fully grown. When they get
like as an attitude,
it's listen to like teen angst music. But as they get fully grown as a female, they get a real rotund abdomen, so a big backside. And they get very shiny. But you can see there.
Can you see that, Carl, on the camera?
Do you want
to bring it to the camera?
So is that how you know the difference between a man and a woman by the back?
Yep, with spiders they're called it's called sexual dimorphism.
Okay.
So that means that in a species, humans are sexually dimorphic. We look very different.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Male and female. With this spider here, I'll pop him there. So maybe you can get him there.
He's moving.
But The false widows, they have a skull pattern on their back, very shiny. Always tend to be upside down in their webs and have these kind of crazy webs that you stick in corners.
Right.
That's more or less how you'll spot them. And like when you get your eye in, like I can be in a pub and go, oh, false widows are over there by looking at the webs.
Ireland,
you know what I mean?
That's great. Do you hear that?
What?
You can be in the pub and just know about the spider.
Oh yeah. But so
that's crazy.
They are native to Ireland.
No, they're from an island called Madeira. And
like
Portugal, is it?
Yeah. And the cake. It's one of my favourite places to go. I love it. And the gas thing is, in Madeira, there's very few of them. It's very hard to find false widows over there.
Really?
Because, again, going back to what we were talking about, the balance, they've their own native lizards over there who take them out and keep them under control. Now, they've gotten to England and Ireland, and their populations are exploding because...
Through imports or something like that?
No, they're just breeding like mad.
Oh, really? No, but how would they have got...
they would have got in on fruits,
chips and stuff like that.
Like insects and spiders and all that kind of small animals travel very well, and it's very hard for customs to check absolutely everything, you know. So they're spreading not only in England and Ireland, but they're showing up everywhere, showing up in New Zealand and crazy places from where they started. And they're really adaptable. They do really well next to people. And yeah, like I said, over here, you walk through Trinity at night and there's just false widows everywhere.
So are they venomous?
They are the first spider in the country that we would consider what we call medically significant, which means that if you get bit by them, you'll know about it.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So it's kind of like a wasp or a bee sting, and some people can have worse reactions, just like a wasp or a bee sting. Right. The difference between them and wasps and bees is we can have fatalities, unfortunately, every year. Somebody dies from wasp and bee stings through anaphylactic shock. It's just unfortunate that happens. It's never happened with these. So that's kind of puts people at ease because they're spiders, and because people have that inherent natural fear, that arachnophobia that we're all born with, kind of that fear of spiders. They make good press. They get a lot of clicks. So it kind of creates a hysteria every year where people freak out. There's no need to freak out about them. They're not going to kill you. If you have them in your house, if you have them in the area, you can hoover them up, or you can catch them in a cup and get them out if you're really worried about it.
Turn them into a nice salad.
Yeah.
Have you been bitten by one of them?
I haven't been bitten by false widow yet.
You have?
I haven't. No. And I handle them regularly.
That's what I was going to... Because you know...
My mate JP Dunbar did his PhD in them. So he did a whole study on them and handled thousands of them and never got a bite.
Jesus.
Like thousands of them.
Yeah.
Like labs full of them, and you'd be breeding them and everything. So they're not inherently... The reason people get bit by them, and even by the true widows, like the black widows and the redbacks in Australia, they're all kind of related to each other. The reason people get bit by them is because they leave a jacket in a tool shed for a half a year, and the spiders that are making a home there, and you put your sleeve down and you put pressure on it, and it thinks it's getting... So of course it's going to bite, you know what I mean? A lot of the bites are from like people putting on trousers that they had left in a closet where a spider would put a web in. So like because I do a lot of field work abroad, I have a habit of shaking out boots and shaking out clothes before I put them on.
Where did he put? You did get bit by one?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't.
No.
You just
As
said that
many saying as me, you had thousands.
And
when
there's
it's hard for you unless you really push them down to.
Yeah.
You know what? Like people do have a fear of spiders. Like I wouldn't like spiders. Like spiders, snakes, I'd be afraid of. But funny enough, see the way you're saying people think they bite them. I've never really thought I'm afraid that spider's going to bite me.
Yeah.
I just don't like the spider.
It's just the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a genetic fear.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. It could be genetic and learned, and both kind of go hand in hand. We're all, with exceptions, but the fears we have as people are heights, fire, snakes, rats, spiders.
Yeah.
The bats is another thing that people will be afraid of.
Yeah,
but that's the big ones, you know. And then people have fear of dogs because you're getting back to wolves, you know what I mean, or big cats. These are all
Uncle Leslie.
Yeah. Oh my God. these
no reason. I don't know why. I can't remember. I blocked it out, I think.
Oh God. These are all fears. I'm going to draw a line under that one. These are all fears though that we inherited from our great grandfathers who are living in the wilds.
Yeah.
And you survived because you didn't touch the spider or the snake.
Yeah.
And that's passed on. You know what I mean?
That's what we had this debate episodes ago, ages ago, because I told you that and you said I'm making that up.
What?
I heard that
I just said
that a fear of an animal like that is your great aunts might have been died because they got bit by a dog or whatever, and that literally goes through generations then.
Yep.
So that is true.
Yeah. Just like a genetic fear, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
But nothing to worry about with the false widows there anyway, you know?
And here's another rumour I want to get demythed here, if it's or it might be true. If you suck up a spider, like, no, if you hoover up a spider, not
be careful how you word that.
Oh, Collie. Framing me here, you are. If you get a hoover now and hoover up a spider, I heard they instantly die.
More or less. I mean, like, you can imagine yourself getting, you know, the slides you go down into the water parks.
Yeah.
Imagine getting reversed of one of them and it being dry.
Fair,
just getting mangled and bashed up inside the tube of the thing, and that's generally what happens to them. The other rumour I used to hear was that if you sucked up a spider into a hoover, it would lay its eggs. When you empty the hoover bag, they'd go up. It's crazy.
Nonsense.
Yeah, nonsense. Yeah. Don't be worrying about that, you know? Yeah.
You got any other spiders?
I have.
Collie has so many animals here.
I brought some stuff. Hang on.
Very excited.
Yeah,
okay.
There you go.
Just for the audio users, he's taking out a box. We can see what it is. But
It's like.
Are you gonna take it out, or?
I'm gonna see how his mood is.
So this is.
So how do you, when you're looking at?
It is for people that are on the audio.
He has. Well, do you want to tell us what it is? It's a scorpion, but what?
Yeah, it's an Asian forest scorpion.
You said there depends what mood he is. So that's what I was going to ask you earlier. If it's like a dog and you're a dog handler.
Oh my god.
There, deal with that, Carl. You just dumped them on the table.
Now see that now everyone this is just walking around the table now. Collie, are you afraid that will try to run away from you?
No, he's calm, he's grand now. It's just like,
how would you know you'd be angry? Would you be going around a big frown? His eyebrows would be
exactly, yeah. He'd be. It's a threat posture. The tail would be a little bit higher.
Okay.
But he's just defending himself there now by just putting the claws out. Now, scorpions are amazing animals. They walked out of the sea 300 million years ago. They haven't changed at all because they do everything perfect.
Okay.
That's how they survived for all this time. And
when you said walked out of the sea, it's kind of remind me of like a lobster. So it must,
they're not literally walked out of the sea. Obviously, their ancestors would have come up. But like they were so perfectly evolved. All these arthropods, all these creatures that we know and have around us, like from millipedes to woodlice and all, would have ancestors that were aquatic, lived in water.
Yeah.
And it didn't take much for them to turn from doing what they do in the ocean or in the ponds to doing what they do on land now. The only difference they had to make was to learn how to breathe in the air.
Okay.
So that's why a lot of them will stay in kind of moist areas, moist conditions. So it's not that dissimilar. They're still damp.
Yeah.
But they live in the desert,
I was about to say.
But he's a forest scorpion.
Okay.
So desert scorpion be different. And I have desert scorpions at home. I wouldn't have a desert scorpion on the desk here.
Dangerous.
Because they'd be more... So desert creatures tend to have spicier venom.
Okay.
That's because in the desert, anything that sees you is going to look at you as potential food source. And anything you see, you want to make sure you can eat it if you get a chance. So you have that more potent venom. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Whereas
100%.
these ones kind of don't need that. They don't need that in a forest situation.
Hello, he says.
Hello, yeah. It's lovely.
So wait, this is a forest scorpion. Where is about to start from?
So he's from Malaysia.
Okay.
I'm going to pop him in because he's in very boisterous form today. He's from Malaysia, which is, very...
I love your cuisine, kind sir.
Anybody who's been to Thailand will have seen the forest there, and they're kind of very damp, lovely areas for creatures like that to live in.
And what is this, a young one or is this
fully grown adult?
Fully grown, okay.
And I've been breeding these for years. I love them. I think they're great scorpions, and quite docile and easy to work with if you're kind of doing stuff like this. You don't have to worry too much.
So it'd be one of your go-tos, would it, when you're going out now? Like if you're going somewhere or you're showing off your animals, that would be one of the.
Yeah, well, I only do like educational stuff. I don't. I don't do the christenings.
No,
every kid's named Scorpion.
That's what I mean. Like if you're doing a presentation.
But definitely, and it's a good animal to show how it behaves, what it looks like. If you look at the pincers on this, for example, see the way he's got really big claws like a lobster you were saying earlier on. If you look at a desert species of that, they've tiny little pincers.
Yeah.
They're barely there. They're really weak. And there's a direct relationship between the amount of venom that a scorpion has and the size of their pincers. It's not always there, but it's a good rule of thumb.
The smaller the hands, the more venom they have.
Yeah, because they don't need to use that muscular power.
Yeah.
So that's his power now, hence why he hasn't got...
He's more about pinch and stuff than...
Have you been stung by one of those?
I have.
Did he sting? Oh, he stings with his tail.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, I have. I was...
He stings with insults.
So,
you look off.
Yeah, you're getting old. Your beard's grey. You're half the man you used to be. That's what I get. But what I was going to say to you, I breed them, and in the wild, the scorpion mothers are fantastic mothers. So she should carry the babies on her back and protect them, and even produce food for them and all that kind of stuff. And then once they're like little white scorpions, tiny little white scorpions, like 20 or 30 on her back. Jesus. And then once they get to their first molt, which is when they shed their skin to grow, then they'll just wander off. I'm keeping an eye on it, don't worry. I can see you there going.
You can hear the noise. The noise is actually making it off the cage.
It's great. So then they'll disperse from the mother and get away from her. In captivity, when they get to that stage, her mothering instincts switch off, and then she just thinks of them as food. So in the wild they just run away, but in a cage I have to get them away. Okay. So I take them off a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And I put them into their little deli cups to get them going, feed them, all that sort of stuff. And one day I was working I have a shed which is a lab for all my insects and stuff. And I was working away and I was popping all the scorpions the baby scorpions into their cups. And one of them got out of the thing and walked around the bench behind me and stung me in the backside. Oh my God. I was like Beyonce for a week. It was mental. But
and that was only a baby one?
Yeah, it was tiny. Like, my backside. You got
a good business doing lip filler with one of those things.
Exactly. But
was it really bad? Like really, really sore?
No, it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a lot worse with the tarantulas flicking the hairs in my eye. That was really horrific.
What do you mean it flicked your hairs?
So the tarantulas from North and South America, the way they defend themselves before biting is to flick hairs. And if you look at the hairs under a microscope, they look like tiny fishing hooks or harpoons. So they're barbed.
So they go in and
they get into your eye, and you blink once or twice, and then they push further in and in.
No.
Oh my God. Yeah, so once I got blasted by like a really bad species called a T. stormy, which is like a Goliath bird eater. They're the biggest spiders on the planet, but they flick these hairs. Honestly, if you open the cage, my mate John keeps them, and I keep them as well. But if you open the cage without like marigolds on,
really,
you'll get itchy arms.
Oh,
no. You have to wear goggles and all. But because I was being Billy Big Balls, and I was just overconfident one day and opened the thing in the eye.
Oh man!
Bubbles coming out my nose and everything. Oh, it was crazy. And I had to get like they had to put opioids in my eye, which was amazing. Like when you had to be there for hours going, it was like, this is brilliant. And then they had a micro tweezers to pull all this stuff out.
As you go into the hospital and be like, the
doctors,
you always saw a spider just flicked hairs in it.
There was a queue. I was Blind Boy. I was on his podcast and I was telling me it's his favourite story. But there was a queue there, like every hospital.
Right.
And like there was 20 odd people in front of me, and I'm signing the thing. And she's like, "What happened to you?" And I said, "Well, a tarantula shot me in the face with its hairs from its backside." And the doctor came like as soon as like I was sitting down for like 2 seconds. He comes running out, come in. And then he was calling all the students up. They were all coming up and taking photographs.
Oh, you would never really see that.
Where would you see it?
Yeah, you're like a phenomenon to them. Like,
it was amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I got to see him really quickly, which is great, you know.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that next time I go in. Hold me toe on.
So when people are worried about house spiders, like there's a lot worse out there, you know.
Big time.
But yeah.
Big time.
See, that scorpion now won't jump out or anything, will it not?
No, I mean, like, if we left her alone long enough, you know, and like in her own enclosure, like obviously it's planted out. There's places for it. It's like being home. She doesn't know any different, you know. It's only I only take her out like just for to show her and to teach students and stuff like that class. As well, you know.
See all the animals you have now. This gonna probably sound stupid, but do any of them know you?
No, it's not stupid. Like so, like lizards, like bearded dragons. You probably have mates who have bearded dragons. Yeah, they get very familiar with you. Skinks, they're another type of lizard. They're super smart. Are they really super smart?
Oh, no, that was a skank.
That was a skank.
Oh my god. Yeah, but like I mean, they the thing about it is like, they're not pets for. You know, if you want a pet to hold and to give a rub, get a guinea pig or a hamster or a cat. It's very much something that you observe and you try and. My goal is to make them feel not know any difference that they're not living in their native habitat. Yeah, just match it and they're happy out. The great thing about insects and invertebrates is it's very ethical, because in the wild they'll find a burrow and they'll live in it. And they'll come out to feed at night and then they'll wander off and find a mate. And that's their life. So you're providing the same thing for them. They know no difference. The only difference is there's no predators for them. Yeah. So you can keep them really to a really good standards of life, and not have to worry about them being cooped up or, you know, or being cruel, which is important, you know.
That's so cool hearing that you have this in your shed, like.
Yeah, I love it. It's a good setup as well.
See, obviously, well, it goes without saying you're very passionate about it, but there's a lot of work goes into it.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yeah.
How many animals have you got in the shed at the minute?
So spiders wise, I've about 40 or 50 adults, and then I've like loads of the young that they'd breed, and you know, so there's an awful lot. I've got 5 or 6 snakes. The snakes are all rescues, rehomes. I have
got room for one more.
Number of snakes here. Yeah, I have a fair few. I have a couple of hundred animals.
Any mammals?
No, I have a dog. I have a dog and I have chickens and quail.
You have chickens?
Yeah, I
Class,
do.
Man.
I love it. Yeah, I love
quail. I love quail eggs.
Unbelievable. I used to eat quail eggs on the 77A going into work.
Is that you?
Yeah.
They're lovely.
I used to take photographs and put it up on quail eggs.
Oh, yeah, I'm so massive. Yeah. Look at how big my hands are.
It's the only time I felt big. But yeah, they're fantastic little birds, and the chickens are just dinosaurs. They're crazy. They're great animals, you know.
See the way people say like a dog's a man's best friend, like. What would be your best friend of all your animals? What's the one you like makes you happy?
I've an awful love for frogs. I absolutely adore them. We were talking about Trinity College. My biggest passion before I took up the role as biodiversity officer was working with my colleague Rob Gondola and the other members of the Herpetological Society of Ireland, and we really push like building ponds and gardens, building ponds in local parks, getting kids to collect tadpoles, not to collect them, but to bring them into their schools and, you know, look at them and watch them develop. Because we were talking about Trinity Castle, like I was saying earlier on. My grandfather would have told me about the castle when he was young. When he'd go up there, when they'd have a sail of work or a fete or whatever they'd be doing. Yeah. And he said you couldn't see the bottom of the moat for frog spawn in the spring. And then I came along and I went to school and I'd say to him, well, there's still frogs there and there's a lot of spawn, but there's not as much as when you were there. And he was like, that's weird. And now I've had to go down there now and build a separate pond because the pollution's so bad from the Kamek that flows into the castle and flows back out that there's no frogs in it.
Oh, Jesus. So
you're just watching this collapse of a very charming little creature that a lot of people will have fond memories of. So, and I think they're a great example of how our local environment is gone a bit crap, you know, and that's water that's going into us as well eventually.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
the animals don't go near it. And do you ever see that when it's like, you'll see it if someone's like left a bit of junk food on the ground and the animals won't even eat it, then you know
it's
they're not
wrong with it. Yeah, exactly. But it's I just think that's a good example. But like as you're asking, sorry. So my favourite would be the frogs with a close second of the tarantulas and the spiders. I find them fascinating on a different level. Right. Like their sex lives and everything is just off the wall.
Why,
look at his eyes.
Tell us about their sex life.
But is there something crazy about their sex life? Like,
spiders, like their mating process between different spiders is like mating in general in the animal kingdom is quite rough.
Okay.
And very
relax, man. Just easy.
Just how we like it.
But it is quite rough. But the and it's generally skewed towards the males being very dominant, and fucking females have it bad in most of the animal kingdom.
Jesus.
In spiders, it's the reverse.
Oh,
the women rule the roost, and I think that's fascinating. I think it's fair play to them. So the males are basically there to do the job and then become a snack for most of the time.
So they eat the man then?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not just mantises. I have a praying mantis there we can talk about later on, but it's the female spiders sit in the webs. They get really big, much larger than the males in the vast majority of spider species because they have to carry the eggs, and they can have 20 to 200 eggs depending on the species. Then the male comes along. He becomes sexually mature. He how crude can I be? Right.
Oh, say whatever you want.
Anything you want.
You say whatever you want.
Anything you want.
He jizzes on a.
That's exactly what we want.
He jizzes on a web, so it's like a spider. He makes a silken web, and he deposits his sperm on it, and then he has secondary reproductive organs. So the sperm comes from his reproductive organ. Then he has these things at the side of his head called pedipalps, and they're like an eyedropper or a turkey baster.
Right.
He sucks up the sperm, and then he's ready to go. And he goes off and finds a female. He has to go to the side of her web, and depending on the species, some of them have to dance, some of them have to do different drumming. She'll come out and she'll accept him, or she won't. If she accepts him, he gets to mate with her. And then as soon as she's done mating, she's thinking, lovely, a little protein snacking out for me to rear my babies, and he'll get eaten.
That's
insane. So it's a fantastic. The Black
Widow does that. That's
the Black Widow is even it's even weirder.
That's why it's
why it's called the Black Widow.
Women who kill their husbands are naturally called
the widow.
Black Widow.
Yeah.
Oh,
so they're even weirder. The males do this kind of self-sacrificing thing. They'll approach the female, do all the little dance and all that, and then they'll present their backside to her. They're tiny compared to the female, but they'll literally put their backside, their abdomen, in her fangs and let her eat. And then they'll cut off the circulation of their bodily fluids to keep them alive just long enough to mate with her. So as they're mating with her, she's eating them.
Oh my Christ.
So that is insane.
That's shit you'd be into, bro.
That is do you see this? Do you ever see this happening?
I've seen it happening, yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Crazy, man.
And then like with me, like breeding tarantulas, I have to kind of be a chaperone where like you put the male in, and if I want them to mate again, I'll have to like be there with a plastic kind of barrier to stop it, you know.
You wouldn't be able to do it with spider that small, like, would you?
Oh no, but that's part of the process. So he needs to be eaten.
Oh,
with the Black Widow, he'd need to be eaten.
So if you
there's a garden spider in America that the males will insert a pedipalp, the reproductive organ, and then die, like have a heart attack and just die and hang there.
No better
and
way.
That's what a way to go. But that stops him. So this is all really smart on the male's behalf, because that means no other male is going to mate with her. So his genes are guaranteed to go on. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Same with the Black Widow, with the male getting eaten. As he's being eaten, he's kind of guaranteeing he's getting a good shot at mating with her and not just kind of rushing it and not passing on his genes. So it's fascinating.
Some lens to go to just prove a point, innit?
Crab spider males have to tie up the female in order to mate with her. They actually have to spin a web around her and tie her up to get away, you know.
So they do that on purpose because really?
Yeah, there's a couple of species of spiders that will actually tie up the female because they're so aggressive.
Are these obviously smarter spiders?
It's funny you say that, because spiders, there are like levels to intelligence and evolution. The smartest spider is probably a jumping spider called Portia, which is from Australia, which actually shows levels of comprehension and thinking. It eats other spiders, so sometimes it will hit the web of the spider, which thinks it's either a snack or a mate, and she'll come out and have a look, and Portia will go deadly and run up behind her and jump on her back and eat her. Like that's problem solving stuff. Like that's really, really intelligent for something like the size of like the top of a pencil. Like really smart. Yeah, mad. So there are levels and different types.
That's so fascinating.
So what praying mantis does this as well?
We are on sync today. I was literally Paul was pointing out.
Praying mantis is another.
This is the most professional podcast I've ever been on.
Really?
They're on sync at the same time. Brilliant.
Oh, we were fucking.
This is unbelievable. So many questions. So what is, like, for anyone that doesn't know a praying mantis, how would you best describe them?
I think everybody's seen Kung Fu Panda, but yeah, they're a lovely little insect. I'm gonna pop it on the table so you can have a look.
Oh, really? Looks like a leaf.
Yeah,
so it's
I'm
like
not
a
shaking. See, I'm not hungover today. But yeah, and they do have these mad disguises.
It's quite big as well. I didn't think it.
And that's not
big.
fully grown. So that's a Chinese green mantis, and when it gets fully grown, it will be like about that length.
Really?
So
that's
yeah.
big.
So this one, would you say, kind of looks like a leaf?
Yeah,
a little
they're
bit.
Very well disguised. Some of them actually do look 100% like dead leaves. Some of them look like orchids. Some of them look like flowers. Some of them look like violin mantises. They look like a twig. So they're really.
I've never seen one of these before. It's so weird to see an insect move its head like that, isn't it?
Yeah. So he's kind of, see the way he's shaking and moving like that. That's to match the breeze.
Oh really?
So if he's sitting on a branch and the leaves are blowing in the breeze, he's going with it.
Oh my god!
So he doesn't stand out.
Can they fly as well?
The males can fly.
And that's
and some in some species the females can fly. So they're actually related to cockroaches. They have that triangular head. So they're predatory cockroaches. They evolved millions of years ago, and their front legs became modified into these kind of spiky things, and that's where they get the praying mantis name, because of the way they hold their hands.
Okay.
And anything that goes past them, they will
even
grab
your
it.
hand.
Not my hand, but like a small little creature, and like they'll feed on birds when they get fully grown. They'll feed on lizards. Like they're really, really big predators, and they do really well. And again, the females, when the male approaches a female, breeding these in captivity is a bit of a nightmare. If you unless you have a lot of time, but you pop in a male with a female and hope that he approaches her very slowly, because if he doesn't, he's just a snack straight away.
Oh my God.
But the males will actually sacrifice themselves. They'll start mating, and she'll start eating him, and you can see his rear end keep on going, reproducing.
Really?
Yeah, mating with her while he's getting eaten.
When you're buying an insect like this, I'm guessing the males are a lot cheaper than the females then, are they?
So it depends, because like you could be desperately looking for a male spider or a male mantis or whatever creature. See the way the hands are going up there like that now?
That's insane. I've never seen an insect like it. It's
beautiful. And real smart little eyes on them as well. You see a lot of them if you go on holidays to Spain or Portugal during the summer months. But again, like all insects, their numbers are in the wild are going down because of a lot of pesticide use, loss of habitat, loss of prey. And when we lose these guys, like these are super, super important. They eat so many mosquitoes and nasty bugs that we don't want around. They do provide us with great service that we don't think about.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you know what's funny? People probably be like, oh, get that away from me. But if you got that away from you,
and look,
you'd have the worst
absolutely
stuff.
no harm. There's no way it would ever hurt you or anything like that.
What is that on top of the tub? So on top of the
that thing there,
tub,
that's just so I can see this one's now he's gonna have to go into a bigger tub. But when they're really small, I can just pop in some food there.
Okay. So a piece of sponge on top of a
and
plastic
then
container.
I can let it go. You know what I mean?
Would you be afraid now? You kind of put him in there. Would you be afraid? Like, have you ever just broken one of the insect's legs?
No.
No?
I'm very, very careful there to make sure that I don't trap their legs, you know?
Okay. And would they just go back if they did, though?
Yeah, they go back after a month or two. But
even that's crazy, isn't it? How they can just redo their legs like that.
Oh, it's mad. It's amazing.
Redo their legs.
Redo their legs. Yeah.
Well, I'd let it eat me. That's real. And see the leaves, see the way you're saying some of them look like that and all?
Yeah.
Again, this might be a stupid question. Can they adapt? Are they like camouflage?
No, to a certain degree, but most of them are just born looking that way, or they develop into it. But there are like insects that can kind of they'll change the shade over a day or two. Our own frogs do that as well. So you take a frog out of a quarry, it could be quite bright, and you put him in a bit of grass, and he'll go a bit greener over a couple of days. Yeah. Really? And our frogs are weird because they vary from like almost jet black to bright orange. They almost look like different species, and I get a lot of calls and texts like, "Just tropical frog in my garden." It's like, no, it's just an Irish frog, but she's very different. Fancy looking. You know what I mean? It's gas, yeah.
And if it say it got real orange, say the frog did, and then you put it somewhere really dark, could it go from bright orange to dark?
It would go to a slightly darker version of it. So I had a frog for 12 years living in. It was in the garden for 12 years, called Big Red. I used to call it in Tala, and like almost that colour red, like amazing, but would change, go a bit darker during the winter months, and then kind of,
lighten back up again.
Yeah.
That's mad.
That's so cool.
What's the difference between a frog and a toad?
That's a great question,
isn't it?
I have another question. What's the difference between a frog and a toad?
What's the difference between a frog and my toes?
That's a big one.
So this is
okay, so
Fuzzy.
We're taking a frog out of a jar.
Oh my god, he's so wet looking and stuff.
Yeah, he does look really wet. So he's like a purpley kind of colour.
Oh, look at his feet.
Now he will change to bright green when he gets home. He's only dark now because I had him in the car on the way over.
That quickly he can adapt.
Green.
Yeah, he'll go bright green. Yeah, so he's a dumpy frog, or that's what they call them in Australia. They're beautiful, beautiful.
He's really small
white
eyes,
tree
or is that
frogs.
just because of the lights, do you reckon?
It could be the lights, but I think they're big enough. But they're white tree frogs. They're gorgeous frogs. You'll see them all around the Australian bush.
Oh, he jumped!
That is so cool.
He jumped.
So if you want to hold a frog and you want to keep them from jumping, you just kind of do it A-OK and just keep his legs straight.
And that doesn't hurt them.
Doesn't hurt them at all. But
hello,
they're gorgeous little creatures. Like I said, I have a great affinity to them. And the difference between a frog and a toad is, this is very general, but frogs tend to be a lot wetter, need to stay closer to water, where toads can get away from water a little bit further. They're a lot less permeable than they are. They have warts on their skins as a toad, and they have big poisonous glands on the side of their heads, full of a thing called bufotoxin, which anything that bites them will never bite a toad again.
Right. Oh, it's a defense mechanism.
Yeah, it's a defense mechanism.
Class.
Do they both have big long tongues?
They both have big long sticky tongues. Yeah. Very good. And they both swallow using their eyes. So they don't have a swallow like we do.
Okay.
I'm delighted I said swallow and not swally. But they push they flick out the tongue, bite Mr. Mantis here, force it in with their hands, and then the eyes go down, and that pushes the prey item. So the eyes go into the back of their head. Yeah.
Here's one for you. If one of them spiders did the hair thing,
yeah, it would affect it 100%, and that's how it defends itself. So tarantulas with that flick hair, it's generally when something's coming in, they all burrow. So it's something coming into their burrow, and of course they'll go, and the badger, the frog, whatever, the bird going down, just gets blinded, gets into their throat. It's really painful.
Okay.
You know?
How far would his tongue go now? Could he come out to here? So
these guys are incredibly voracious eaters. So if I put my finger in, like I put videos up all the time, and he's like
show us.
Well, he won't do it now because he's under a strange situation. But if it's in his tank, he would actually jump out and bite anything, and his tongue will go out. So dragonfly flying over, you'll see them. They'll jump up, grab it, and do the whole thing at the same time. But the tongue just gives them a little bit more distance to grab on. You'll be going home soon.
I had frogs, actually. I forgot to say that. I had 2 frogs. I couldn't tell you what they were, but we used to feed them crickets, live crickets.
Really?
Yeah.
And we had it under the stairs, where it was like under the stairs and a wash machine, and then like a load of just rubbish just thrown in. And the tray of crickets fell and broke out, and all the crickets were, and they were right down the back of under the stairs. You couldn't get near them. Like,
when I was renting houses, when I was a young man, I used to drive me housemates mad because the noise of the crickets going off at night.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like I'm in Spain. But it was good times, you know.
I think
Is that your favourite frog? Another way you were saying you love your frogs, is that?
Fuzzy?
Yeah.
No, I have another one called Ozzy, who I love. Absolutely love. I have him for years, but like, he's a mental case.
Is
like,
he?
Just mad, just lazy, just sits there all day, just waiting for it to be fed, and it's just like
How long
crazy.
was it? How long did you live for?
I've heard of those frogs living 18,
Really?
19 years. I have that one 12 or 13 years. So
Nice.
You know?
How long have you got Ozzy?
10 years,
Nice.
9 or 10 years.
Have you ever had one of these animals now and like they've passed on or whatever and really
it's horrible.
affected you?
It happens. I lost my I lost one of my lizards that I had for. I'm going to break down now and think.
Really?
But, I
Yeah, you
lost
don't
him-
have to
I
talk
lo-
about it if you don't want
No,
to.
it's grand. I lost him the other day. Just old age again. Like, you know what I mean. I had a tarantula called Vivian that I loved. Like, it's so weird to say, but like I had her for like 20 years.
Jesus.
Like, I mean, moving out, kids, marriage, all the whole thing, and having this animal that you be with all the time, hanging around with. It's not like I'm out, frolic through.
It's still
but
like
it's like something that and would have worked with me from everything from like being on the Late Late Show to doing young scientists exhibitions, all that kind of stuff for years, and kind of like helped me get the career that I've gotten, believe it or not. And then when she passed away, I was wrecked. Like I was absolutely wrecked. Yeah. And that's the thing about caring for a lot of animals is, at a certain point, they do get to a certain age and they pass away. It's very hard to go down to the boozer with your mates and explain why you're upset because your giant spider died, as opposed to if it was a labradoodle or you know what I mean, or a pug that they.
But it's the same thing though.
Well, it is, of course. You get emotionally attached to it. It's it's more of a one-way interaction with me in many ways. But yeah, it is. It's part of the deal of loving these.
Have you ever had sorry, this is just kind of jumping. That's obviously a real sentimental question. This is probably going to sound stupid.
Have you ever had a laugh?
Have you ever had an instance where a frog has broken out and eaten and something else then like?
No, thank God. No, I haven't. No, I'm very careful about things. It's a tight ship I run. So I want to make sure that they have a good life and they're looked after, so I'm lucky enough in that regard, Yeah, I have a good setup in the shed. My mate P is even impressed. So
was there something?
As P is harder to impress, is it?
Well, he's the builder, Pete the builder. Yeah. He records here, doesn't he?
Carl said, yeah. He records here and everything. Yeah,
the man with the biggest shoulders in
the world.
In the world, yeah. It's huge. You could build an airport on the back of
it. Class. Yeah, see now, if we were to go to your shed now, so we're coming to you, and you have to show us one animal, so you don't have to worry about how it travels or whatever. What's the first thing you'd show someone?
I've a lovely big boa, which I kind of like to show because it's a really impressive snake.
Okay.
And kind of can look a bit intimidating, but it's so gentle and lovely creature. And it kind of like when you show people the size of it, it's kind of like intimidating, but then they hold it and they touch it. It's it's kind of it's a lovely kind of interaction. And gets people kind of relaxed,
Yeah.
And because it's the biggest thing there, it kind of puts them at ease, That's not going to kill me, nothing else,
We're talking about invasive species earlier on, but that's something in Florida that's a huge thing. They're actually allowed to go and hunt them because people who had these massive snakes let them loose.
So what happened was lots of reptiles is a big industry everywhere now. And in Florida, they had a lot of the breeding facilities, and then the hurricane hit one year.
That's what I was thinking of something there when you're talking. When I asked you about the
reticulated pythons got out. Now, reticulated pythons, at the best of times, are a difficult animal. Boas are very calm, kind of docile. You can get a crazy boa, like you can get a crazy dog, but for the vast majority of times, they're very nice, big snakes, but very kind of cool and chill. Reticulated pythons are very snappy and so for them to get out into the Everglades was a bit of a nightmare. I think they've reduced the mammal population in the Everglades by 70%.
They're eating all the deer.
They're eating all the deer, all the raccoons, all the birds, everything. So now, like I said, that they're literally hiring people to go out and hunt them like mad, and they're finding huge ones.
Oh my god,
it's crazy, and it's a weird one as well because it's odd. Reticulated pythons in their natural habitat aren't doing great, but you can't capture them in the US and bring them back because they might bring diseases back home. So it's this thing of like some animals that are doing terrible in their native habitat could be doing great in a place they've been introduced to.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
If they drop, that actually probably could happen if they drop, and then people are killing them in America.
Yeah,
they're all gone.
They're all gone.
Yeah,
it's mad.
Iguanas as well, and
Florida's out. The fish that they have down there. So they've loads of Amazonian fish that were brought in for fish tanks that were released out.
Is it the lionfish?
Lionfish, that's very good. Look at this. There you go. Peacock bass, loads of stuff. Invasive species is one of the biggest threats to biodiversity that we have in Ireland. Are big threats with invasive wise. Now, obviously, we have the false widow spider. A lot of research being done at the moment with their interactions with our native spiders and with our native invertebrates. How much, because they're so prevalent, how much damage are they doing? What are they doing? We recorded them eating our native lizards. We have a little lizard that lives in Ireland, and we found one of them in a web after being eaten.
Oh, really?
So, they've been recorded eating bats because they get into the bat roosts and eat the baby bats. Because they're so venomous they can overpower them. So they're bad. You have the Asian hornets that showed up last year, which would be a nightmare if they got into the country because they'll just eat. Our bee population, our native bee population, isn't great in Ireland at the moment. If the Asian hornets get in, it'd be just devastating.
But they'd kill all our bees.
Yeah.
They're
just left with A's and C's.
And see the way, don't give him that much of a laugh. He doesn't deserve it. See the way our bees then, as its whole ecosystem, and they help us out and they do their part. The hornets, if they got rid of all the bees, could they adapt and do what our bees did?
No, because they only eat other. They need protein, so they're not out pollinating.
Right, Jesus.
So if you look at so the big threats, like I said, are invasive species, but also pesticides is a massive thing. In China, between invasive species and using pesticides on their crops, they wiped out all their pollinators in certain areas of China. So now, in order to get pears, apples, cherries, all the fruit that we love, they have to go around. They have to hire people to go around and do the pollinating. So they have these feather dusters on sticks, tapping off all the flowers.
That could have been done by bees
for free.
Yeah.
And then there's the tech bros are talking about, we can get mini drones to do it. Why don't you fucking save the bees?
That's proper futuristic shit, isn't it?
It's dystopian. It's horrible to think about.
Insane,
you know what I mean? And it's it's just one thing to, again, along with building habitats in people's gardens, get people interested in, and when you go for a walk to spot bugs. When everybody was locked down during the COVID thing, a lot of people were getting into Pokemon Go. Remember they were doing it on their phone? There's a thing called iNaturalist you can download onto your phone, right? And it's fantastic. If you're going along and just say a praying mantis flew over from the channel or hitched a ride on a ferry and flew up into Drimnagh, and you're walking down, you see a praying mantis. With the iNaturalist app, you can take a photograph of it and it will tell you where it is, if it's new, all this sort of stuff. And it's kind of like Pokemon Go, but real.
It's real, yeah.
That's really cool.
And you can kind of do your list for the year and say, Jason, I'm after seeing all this stuff.
Yeah.
It makes you stop when you're out walking and having a look in nettles or having a look in ivy and saying, I'll add a couple of these to my list. You'll learn a little bit as you go. It's a good way of using your phone instead of a distraction from nature to actually get you into nature. And I think it's anybody out there who wants to kind of take first tentative steps into getting into natural history or getting a little bit more interested in it. I could see you have an interest in it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's and it's lovely to hear people that, you know what I mean, have a good baseline and knowledge about nature.
Yeah.
That iNaturalist thing is fantastic.
Is it a free app?
Free app.
That's class.
Fantastic.
I would have done that when I was in Maid. I would have seen a lot more birds.
You lived on a farm.
Yeah, there you go.
I never knew there was hawks in Ireland, and I seen one day. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Got buzzards back. We didn't have them for ages. We got
Buzzard. What's a buzzard again?
A buzzard is like a big bird of prey, big raptor.
Okay.
And you'll see them a lot if you're on a motorway, like sitting on the lights, and they look like, you know, people, is that an eagle? But it's like,
could have been one of those, yeah.
But they were extinct in Ireland, but now they came back from Wales, and they're doing really well again because people are more aware of not to poison the land and not poison them in you know, up the food chain. There you go.
Mad to see a bird like that when you're just used to saying pigeons and crows and stuff like that.
Yeah, big time. Like, because we're so used to the 2 or 3, we do see anything different. It's like it's proper an eyesore.
Exactly.
I know not an eyesore is the right word. They're gorgeous, like, but you know what I mean. It's proper. Like you notice it.
The great thing though we have, you know what I mean, and particularly for anybody in Ireland who's, you know, not fortunate enough to live near like open space nature, like they don't live beside a national park or whatever. We have so many spots in Galway, Dublin, Cork that are still really wild, but we just pass by them and we don't take notice of them. So you had to, like, you are from Drimna,
yeah.
So you have the canal. That's a greenway. It's full of life. Go down there on a summer day and just sit there for a half an hour. Do it for me, and I'll come back and I'll talk to you about what you see. Yeah. But like you'll see dragonflies in the evening time. You'll see the bats going up and down.
Really?
Yeah. Nobody does it.
I've seen a turtle in the canal before. I know that's
there
not
you
meant
go.
to be there.
But it's mad what you'll see.
Yeah.
Swans.
You have the swans. You have all the bird, like you have the fish, the eels moving up and down. You go into the Phoenix Park. You'll see all sorts of creatures. A great spot is always near water and near trees, because that combination of both just has a real kind of buzz about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's amazing what you'll see. And like, we are always close to nature. It's just about taking the time to give yourself a little bit of a space and a bit of breath to get out in nature and take it in and enjoy it. And I guarantee you'll feel a lot better for doing it as well.
Absolutely.
Well, you didn't need to convert me, but I think you might have converted him, and hopefully whoever's listening as well.
There you go.
100%. Yeah. That's so interesting, like all that stuff.
It is.
It's really bliss. Like we were in Trinity last year. Remember in the summer we went one Sunday and we were walking around and we're like, we actually did do it again. We said we should do this like once a week.
You're more than welcome to come in someday if you want, and I can even bring you around, show you what we're after getting up to.
That'd be class.
You're more than welcome to come in if you want to even record or whatever. But always welcome. And it's great to chat, and it's stuff like this. I love doing it because I think there is a little bit of a disconnect now from people and nature, and it seems like I don't want to. I'm from a working class background, and nature's been really, really good to me and to my mental health, and all the joy it's brought me over the years when I've been feeling low or down or something. To get out in nature has always been really, and to have that interest, and you know, I'm fed up. I'm fed up with this and that. Oh, ladybird! I never saw that one before. You know what I mean? Something that just distracts me, takes me out of the hump, and you go home a little bit happier. And I think I don't want nature to become something that's very tweedy and elitist and only done by the people with the posh accents. Yeah. Everybody should be able to do it. Everybody from every background, you know.
Yeah, well, there you go. Everyone that's near us, as you said, there's a canal 5 minutes from me. If you're in Drimna, in Cork, Grumbling,
get out there. Touch grass, smell the roses, have a look for the beetles.
Yeah,
there you go.
Now there's the canal down the barn, that stinks sometimes. But like if you go up to the further end, you're alright.
Before we wrap up, can we see the last few animals we have here? Or I don't want to just rush it. I think we're.
I don't want to. I don't want to be taking up too much of your time.
No, not at all. We stay here all night.
Here we go. So right, we're going to talk about these.
Right, so we just opened up a jar.
The boo box, that's what I call this. So this is, it looks like a beetle, but it's a really, really chunky and giant cockroach. Do you remember the mantis's head where I was saying it's a triangle?
Yeah.
See, it's the same.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how you know they're kind of in the same family.
Is there a specific reason why it's that shape? Is it adapted
so your classic cockroach that you see in the movie, everybody knows how a cockroach looks like, you know, you see it, and they scuttle under the
door.
Under the door or whatever, under the fridge, and they have the wings and they're smaller. That's the German or Australian cockroach. They're the ones that are the pest species that are everywhere. Cockroaches, as a rule, though, can be really, really beautiful. You get everything from these beautiful jade cockroaches to like black and white ones, stripy ones, and everything. Gorgeous creatures. We just associate them with being pest species. These are really interesting because they're from the island of Madagascar. And that's an island off Africa. And the great thing about islands is when animals arrive on them, all sorts of weird stuff happens. So mammals tend to get smaller on islands, and reptiles and birds tend to get bigger. Now, a great example of that would be the islands of like Flores. If you ever look up a thing called The Hobbit Man, the real Hobbit, humans ended up on this island chasing elephants to hunt, and they shrank down to like hobbits in size over generations. Jeez. The humans did, and they found our bones. So they were like micro people, fully grown adults, but just shrank. And the elephants would have shrank too. In Greece, they would have had pygmy hippos. In all these, there were pygmy woolly rhinos. It's a strange things that happen to these kind of, especially big herbivores which eat plants. There's not enough plants around, so instead of like just eating everything, they kind of shrink down over generations. Reptiles and bugs and birds tend to do the opposite. That's why on the islands of Komodo you have the Komodo dragon, which is the biggest reptile. The biggest venomous creature on the planet. Because they actually are venomous.
Are they? I didn't know that now.
We used to think that when they bit an animal, it was bacteria in the mouth that caused it to die eventually. So they bite things when they're adults. They'll bite like cows, bison, goats, all that sort of stuff, and then wait and play the waiting game, and then the venom will take hold. We used to think it was a bacterial infection, but it's actually a venom. They have venom glands.
And then when it dies, they'll eat it.
Then they eat it, rip to shreds, and then they mightn't have to eat for another 6-7 months.
Jesus
crazy.
Christ.
But these cockroaches would have arrived in Madagascar looking like probably regular cockroaches, but because they're on an island, they got bigger. They lost their wings, and they became these really chunky, kind of almost beetle-like creatures. And they're fascinating, and it's a really good example to show this kind of weird island freakiness that happens with creatures when you're talking to students, They are called hissing cockroaches, because they have a thing called sphericals, which is what they breathe through, but they can pump air through them and make a tss sound, which freaks out predators, which helps them to communicate with each other. So they're really interesting. I've buckets of them at home. I absolutely love them. And
what do they eat?
All my kitchen scraps in the wild.
Really, yeah?
In the wild, they would be eating my kitchen scraps, but we eat nature's kitchen scraps. So anything that dies, anything that falls in leaf wires. So they're basically like the rubbish men of the forest.
Okay.
And they'll recycle all the food, turn it into lovely poo, which goes into the ground, which feeds the mycelium, which is like fungus, mushrooms and all that, which in turn will feed the plants and keeps the forest going. So, these, like, when I talk about ecosystem services, we have our versions of that living in the forest in Ireland, like woodlice, earwigs, all that sort of stuff. They're doing the same thing. So, it all these animals and all people get creeped out about, if they were to disappear off the face of the earth, we would be absolutely bollocksed. He's gone.
It's mad.
You need these to kind of to keep everything functioning and ticking over.
Such important purposes, like, isn't it? Like, every animal has a purpose.
Yeah.
This is the one I was nervous about now.
Yeah,
this is a cross hunt.
Yeah, and it's only a teenager.
It's a vagina. A vagina it's a portable vagina.
Oh my god! So it's a giant African land snail, and there's a fair few species of them, but they're all from East Africa, where I would go with Trinity a lot.
Okay.
And they're huge, and some of the bigger species, their shell is like a rugby ball nearly.
Really?
Like massive. And the part that comes out of a snail is called the foot. So that's the part with the two eyes and the body part. And the foot of the biggest species would be the lentior arm.
Oh, really?
Like huge.
And they
Google
produce
them.
a lot of
Google
goo, a lot of slime.
Yes, they do. And they're a really interesting species. And I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again for anyone who hasn't heard it. They're one of the greatest examples, and they're really high up on the invasive species list worldwide. People love to eat them. They're really good food source, and very easy to farm or collect from the wild. But when people emigrate and take 2 or 3 of them with them and bring them to a country where there's no giant lizards that would eat them, birds that would eat them, that specialise and keep them under control, they bring them to the likes of East Asia, where there's literally in Singapore, there's a police squad that goes around collecting giant African snails.
Really?
Yeah, literally. And if you're caught with them going over the border, you're done. Like, you'd be done for bringing drugs over.
Jesus.
Like, it's crazy. Because they're so invasive. They were brought to Hawaii. Now, when two snails get together, they're hermaphrodites. So there's male and female in both. So they'll be able to lay a couple of hundred eggs. Within 6 months of those eggs hatching, they're adults. And they'll all be able to lay. Now, and if nothing's eating them, they'll all make 200 babies. And those, each just one of them, you can see how it multiplies very quickly.
Yeah, within the space of 2 years, you have
10 years you'd be crawling with them. So this happened in Hawaii when they got out. They started eating everything, like ruining crops and ruining people's gardens and everything. So the government decided to try and deal with it. They'd introduce a predatory snail. So there's snails that eat other snails. So they literally follow a snail's slime trail and chase it down and eat it. They're called rosy wolf snails. They're about that size. Cool.
It's much smaller. Like.
Yeah, much smaller. So they'll go after them and they'll munch them and eat them.
This must take ages because all snails are real slow, aren't they?
No, these rosy wolf snails can move.
Can they?
Fast, yeah.
Can this fella here move?
He's moving fast enough, but he's not as fast as the predatory snails. But what happened was, right, they released the rosy wolf snail in Hawaii and it ate every other snail on the island bar these.
Oh, no.
And Hawaii had its very own, like our cockroaches we were talking about, island species that existed nowhere else in the world. They were called the jewels of the forest. They were they looked like diamonds and
they're gone
absolutely beautiful little creatures. And they were all nearly wiped out. I think 90% of them are gone. The ones that are still there, they're in pens that look like Jurassic Park because they have concrete around them with salt traps and electric fencing to keep them alive and to keep the predatory snails out. So it's just an example of like bringing these in, then trying to deal with them without thinking it through has ruined the whole ecosystem, and we've lost hundreds of species just from this mistake, you know. So again, it's not this snail's fault; it's people's fault. But it's very, very interesting to talk about. And as you were saying, they are quite slimy. Their slime has regenerative properties, which means that if they get cut, they'll heal up really quickly. It's got antiseptic in it, and some of the very rich and famous people who are crazy in the world will go to a very posh beauty salon, get a paste put on their face that's very tasty for snails, and they'll pop the snails on their head, and the snails will scrape away all their dead skin when they're eating the paste.
Oh my God.
And put the slime all over their face.
That's
there you go.
Insane.
It's mad.
Yeah, in snails.
It works for me though. But yeah, it's
Think twice if everything's okay, Mr. Snail. You just blinked with both sides.
Jesus, that's so interesting.
It's just an interesting story about them, and they're really like their history and their how they've gotten on the world is just mental when you think about it, you know.
That's nuts.
All of it is. You
can see his head now. He's proper.
Yeah, that's the stalks. The things sticking out are his eyes, and those things are both a tongue and a nostril on the bottom.
Just one nostril?
Two of them. So he can taste in stereo. He can see in stereo. So he can taste where the cabbage is. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They don't see like the way we see. They see basically in light and dark. So they'll know when it's nighttime to come out and it's safe to eat.
It's madness.
So it's real like the very, very simple kind of eyes compared to us.
Yeah. So interesting, Collie.
Yeah.
Like
full
really.
of knowledge. I love all this stuff.
Yeah,
we were really excited for this. Didn't expect it to bring in that.
I was debating whether I'd bring in something or not, but I'm glad I did.
No, same, yeah.
Absolutely. Like I as I said, I'd have a passing interest in this, but 10 times more now because of this. I think I'm doing God's work as well, going to the school and getting the kids into it. Because even if you go back and listen to the start of this, one kid didn't know see a worm before.
Yeah,
that is bizarre.
It's mad, you know, and not just the kids though. It's like anybody who's like I just want to make it accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody can do this. Like there's nothing magic about me or anybody who's in, and even like my colleagues who are like writing papers up and doing deep science about it. It all stems from a passion, a childlike wonder about nature, and that's what it's all about. And there's no like it's there and it's free for us, and it's there's no like reason why anybody shouldn't be into it. And
it's a good example. I would have probably been a bit afraid when I was younger to say anything about it. I don't know why.
I know.
But it's good. I think hopefully anyone listening can hear you say it, and even maybe me, to be like, just admit it.
Yeah,
it's good to have an interest in what you're interested in, and
obviously
follow
your passions, whatever they are, however weird they are.
And also, if you came into our school, like 100%, we would have been one of the ones to put our hands up. They go out. If he was going out to the mall, that's so cool. Like every kid,
it's great, and there is the kids they buzz off it. That's class. They really do, you know. And yeah, it's good. It's all new to them as well.
That's it.
It's sad that it's new to them, but it's also exciting, and you could try and focus on the little victories like that and the positive side of it, rather than going, oh, for God's sake, it's you know, because it's there's always hope, and we can keep marching forward, you know.
I want to leave you on a question. Obviously, you're big into Irish wildlife, but if you could go anywhere in the world and that was out your back garden, where would you go?
I've been very lucky in that I've gone to a lot of places with very cool animals, and a big part of my heart is in Kenya in Africa.
Really?
I love it. I'm going back in October. So I've been very lucky that way. I haven't been to the big redwood forests of North America. And that's full of frogs and newts and salamanders.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd love to go there in the rainy season just to watch the big migrations of them and garter snakes up there. So garter snakes all hibernate in a big ball together, and they all come out in hundreds of thousands.
Oh.
I buzz off that, you know. And also, I'd love to see Bigfoot.
Do you believe it?
I don't know. It's kind of it's a weird interest of mine. Is Bigfoot? At one stage, I was kind of thinking maybe, but I don't know. But that whole area is absolutely amazing. It's a proper wilderness as well. The one thing the Americans did was, like Roosevelt, the president, he boxed off a load of it. He was an outdoorsy type, so I already like him. But he boxed off loads of areas of the country for nature and to protect it for the people to enjoy. And it's great. I'd love to go up there and have a look around and watch all those migrations and stuff like that.
I think it would be South America. I like the Amazon. That's
yeah.
And then you'd be in the water. And now you're back in the paddling pool.
No, I've seen some mad things in Newcastle. I'd probably go back.
Collie, man, you're a legend. Thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed the chat.
Yeah,
it's a brilliant podcast.
That was brilliant.
Thanks so much, Collie.
Hopefully people learn.
Yeah.
That was class. Thanks very much.